why did you choose ENT as a branch?
Then I came to know about ENT with my good seniors and all, and उन्होंने बताया कि you have a chance of getting into MCH also, like with general surgery. तो इसलिए फिर मैंने ENT चूज किया था.
How difficult is getting SRship in ENT?
तो you have to give entrance examination followed by interview, and उसमें भी जनरली उन्हीं को प्रेफर किया जाता है जो उस इंस्टीट्यूट से JRship किए होते हैं.
What is the approximate salary package one can expect to get in a corporate hospital in tier 1 city or any private hospital in tier 2 or tier 3 city?
Going as a beginner in these cities can be a bit tough, even in government. So, and the salary packages you can think in university you can get up to 1.5 to 2 lakhs. That's a fixed base salary.
Should a person choose ENT as a branch against surgery and ophthalmology?
Rahul, it depends. Like every branch have their pros and cons.
Can you elaborate a bit if you do MS ENT from a peripheral medical college and from an institute like AIMS and PGI?
कि ENT एक वेरी इक्विपमेंट इंटेंसिव ब्रांच है. तो जैसे मैंने PGI चंडीगढ़ में अपना MS किया है, so I'll tell you my experience that we had high end state of the art equipments of endoscopy unit, the microscopes. मुझे वो हर सर्जरी देखने को मिली जो प्रोबेबली पेरिफेरल कॉलेजेस में नहीं होती है.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 6 of NEET PG Mentoring Sessions. I'm Dr. Rahul Chavla, and in today's episode, I have a very special friend of mine, Dr. Sanjeev Yadav. I have been knowing him for last 17 years and he has been my friend since Kota days. Sanjeev did his MBBS from BGMC Pune and MS ENT from PGI Chandigarh. He did his SRship from AIMS New Delhi and presently he is working as an assistant professor in Medical College, Etawah. Welcome Sanjeev.
Hi Rahul. थैंक्स फॉर द वार्म इंट्रोडक्शन. कभी सोचा नहीं था कि आज हम दोनों यहाँ बैठकर ENT के बारे में बात कर रहे होंगे. स्पेशली याद है वो कोटा के इंटेंस यूजी प्रिपरेशन डेज जब हम दोनों साथ में बैठकर पढ़ते थे. तो काफ़ी लंबी जर्नी रही है और इस फील्ड में बहुत कुछ सीखने को भी मिला है. आज बहुत एक्साइटमेंट है जब हमारा कॉल आया है अपना ENT एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करने का और इनसाइट्स और चैलेंजेस पर डिस्कस करने का. सो टेल मी व्हाट्स ऑन योर माइंड, क्या पूछना है आज?
ओके सो एज यू नो तुमने पहले भी वीडियोस देखे हुए हैं एंड वी हैव अ सेट फॉर्मेट. सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं कि व्हाई डिड यू चूज ENT एज अ ब्रांच?
सो बेसिकली मुझे सर्जिकल ब्रांच लेनी थी एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू द रैंक ऑब्वियसली मेरी प्रेफरेंस ऑर्थोपेडिक्स जनरल सर्जरी थी. बट देन आई केम टू नो अबाउट ENT विद माय गुड सीनियर्स एंड ऑल, एंड उन्होंने बताया कि यू हैव अ चांस ऑफ गेटिंग इनटू MCH आल्सो, लाइक विद जनरल सर्जरी. For example, in neurosurgery, in head and neck surgery, surgical oncology and plastic surgery. तो इसलिए फिर मैंने ENT चूज किया था.
Otherwise, before giving exam, you did not had any inclination towards ENT as such?
No.
Okay. So you did your MS from PGI Chandigarh, and obviously you must have been getting some other branches in PGI as well, or maybe surgery in some other medical college. So did that PGI factor came into your mind while deciding your branch?
Yes. So yes, this PGI factor came into my mind क्योंकि जहाँ तक जितने सीनियर से बात करी, जितना मैंने इस सब्जेक्ट को समझा, ENT इज मेनली एन इक्विपमेंट इंटेंसिव ब्रांच. आप जितने अच्छे मेडिकल कॉलेज से आप ENT करेंगे आपको उतना ही अच्छा सीखने को मिलेगा. लाइक पेरीफेरी मेडिकल कॉलेजेस जैसे मैंने BGMC पुणे या फिर और भी स्टेट मेडिकल कॉलेजेस, वहाँ पर ENT इज अ वेरी लो ब्रांच. लाइक तुमने पहले ही पूछा कि ENT क्यों चूज किया, क्योंकि सब जगह ENT को बहुत ही एज अ लो लाइन ब्रांच रखा जाता है बिकॉज इक्विपमेंट्स उतने नहीं होते हैं. बट इन PGI एंड AIMS, जब मैंने PGI में ENT किया तो मुझे पता चला कि ENT इज वेरी वास्ट. देयर इज सो मच टू लर्न इन ENT, एंड शायद इसीलिए ENT बाहर के वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज हैं जो जैसे UK, US, यहाँ पर टॉप ब्रांचेस में आती है. पीपल प्रेफर डर्मा रेडियोलॉजी एंड देन ENT रादर गोइंग फॉर ऑर्थोपेडिक्स और जनरल सर्जरी. सो प्रोबेबली शायद इसी वजह से मैं ENT में फिर रुका भी. मैंने सोचा था ड्यूरिंग while I was doing ENT कि I'll prepare again for ortho to take orthopedics and all, but नहीं, ENT was good for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sanjeev, tell me one thing. What is the difference? Can you elaborate a bit if you do MS ENT from a peripheral medical college and from an institute like AIMS and PGI?
Yes. So जैसे मैंने बोला कि ENT एक वेरी इक्विपमेंट इंटेंसिव ब्रांच है. तो जैसे मैंने PGI चंडीगढ़ में अपना MS किया है, so I'll tell you my experience that we had high end state of the art equipments of endoscopy unit, the microscopes. मुझे वो हर सर्जरी देखने को मिली जो प्रोबेबली पेरिफेरी कॉलेजेस में नहीं होती है। सो पेरिफेरी के कॉलेजेस में बेसिक सर्जरीज होती है, जैसे कि टिम्पेनोप्लास्टीज, मेस्टोइडेक्टमीज, फेस, टॉन्सिलेक्टमीज, एडिनोइडेक्टमीज, माइक्रोलैरिंजियल सर्जरीज और थायरोइडेक्टमी। बट एम्स और पीजीआई में रहकर आई हैव सीन टेकिंग आउट पिट्यूटरी थ्रू द नोज, टेकिंग आउट क्रेनियोफेरेंजियोमा थ्रू द नोज. These are anterior skull base surgery, taking out glomus jugulaire or taking out some big tumors such as cerebellopontine angle tumors, जो कि आपने ये वर्ड सिर्फ न्यूरोसर्जरी में सुने होंगे, बट ये सब कुछ ईएनटी सर्जन्स कर रहे हैं एम्स न्यू दिल्ली, मुंबई, पीजीआई चंडीगढ़, जिपमर, ऐसे इंस्टीट्यूट्स में. सो यही एक बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस है दैट अगर आप एक पेरीफेरी से ईएनटी कर रहे हैं तो यू विल बी वेल वर्स विद वेरी बेसिक प्रोसीजर्स which maybe constitute around 60 to 70% of ENT procedures. बट आप एम्स दिल्ली और पीजीआई चंडीगढ़ में रहकर आप काफ़ी एडवांस प्रोसीजरल स्किल्स भी सीख सकते हैं.
ओके, तो ये जो स्कल बेस सर्जरी जिसकी तुमने बात की है, ये फेलोज कर रहे हैं या फिर एसआरस या फिर रेजिडेंट्स इन ईएनटी कर रहे हैं?
सो बेसिकली जूनियर रेसिडेंसी में, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन में आप सिर्फ असिस्ट करते हैं, मोस्टली आप सिर्फ असिस्ट करते हैं. सीनियर रेसिडेंसी में आकर आप बेसिक प्रोसीजर्स करना स्टार्ट करते हैं. बट अगर आपका स्कल बेस सर्जरीज में एक्सपोजर, लाइक असिस्टिंग एक्सपोजर भी स्टार्टिंग से बहुत अच्छा होगा, देन यू विल गो फॉर फेलोशिप्स इन स्कल बेस सर्जरीज एंड देन यू कैन मेक अ कैरियर आउट ऑफ इट. तो मेनली ये स्कल बेस सर्जरीज फैकल्टीज ही करती हैं. स्कल बेस सर्जरीज हो गई और जितनी भी बड़ी सर्जरीज हैं ये सब फैकल्टीज ही करती हैं. बट आपका एक्सपोजर सिर्फ इन्हीं इंस्टीट्यूट्स में है. लाइक अभी जैसे मैं यूपीयूएमएस सैफई में हूँ, यहाँ पर भी सिर्फ बेसिक प्रोसीजर्स ही होते हैं. यहाँ पर स्कल बेस सर्जरीज, लेटरल स्कल बेस सर्जरीज नहीं हो रही हैं बिकॉज हमारे पास वो इक्विपमेंट्स नहीं हैं अभी तक.
Okay, fine. So Sanjeev, how difficult is getting SRship in ENT once you clear your MS exam?
सो जनरली इन पेरिफेरल मेडिकल कॉलेजेस एसआरशिप इज इन बॉन्ड. तो यहाँ से जो भी जूनियर रेसिडेंसी खत्म करेगा उसको एज अ गिफ्ट एसआरशिप मिली जाएगी किसी ना किसी मेडिकल कॉलेज में. बट गेटिंग एसआरशिप इन पीजीआई और एम्स और मैनी एम्स इन आर इंडिया, सो यू हैव टू गिव एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशन फॉलोड बाई इंटरव्यू, एंड उसमें भी जनरली उन्हीं को प्रेफर किया जाता है जो उस इंस्टीट्यूट से जेआरशिप किए होते हैं. सो यस, देर इज अ स्ट्रगल इन गेटिंग एसआरशिप आफ्टर योर पीजी. लाइक मुझे भी पीजीआई चंडीगढ़ से जेआरशिप करने के बाद पहले 1 ईयर लेडी हार्डिंग में एसआरशिप करनी पड़ी, एंड उसके बाद आई हैव क्वालिफाइड फॉर एम्स, एंड देन आई हैव डन माय 2.5 years ऑफ एसआरशिप फ्रॉम एम्स न्यू दिल्ली.
Okay. Can you tell me briefly about your experience as an SR in AIMS?
In AIMS, it was a very good experience. Like I have assisted a lot of surgeries during my post-graduation days, but in AIMS as a senior resident, I have done a lot of surgeries, like right from the basic procedures to advanced FES procedures, and have assisted a very renowned surgeon, Dr. Alok Thakkar sir, in skull-based surgeries. We have done robotic surgeries, we have done robotic thyroidectomies, robotic neck dissections, and it was only possible because of these equipments present in that institute. तो काफ़ी लर्निंग, जो एक्सपीरियंस जो मिला है, कॉन्फिडेंस जो मिला है सर्जिकल हैंड में, वो मुझे एम्स में ज़्यादा मिला है.
Okay. And how is residency in ENT, both PG as well as SRship, in terms of toxicity, work-life balance, and the overall working of the department?
So ENT is like any other surgical branch. Toxicity depends on your colleagues, your seniors, your mentors, and about work-life balance. Obviously, it's a little hard. Like you have to have 12 to 14 hour shifts every day. आपका एक दिन ओपीडी होगा, फिर उस दिन आप एडमिशन्स करेंगे, उनको सर्जरी के लिए प्रिपेयर करेंगे, उनका फाइल्स लिखना, ब्लड अरेंज करना, प्री एनेस्थेटिक चेकअप होना. रात के 10 बज जाते हैं इसमें, मॉर्निंग 8 से. एंड देन नेक्स्ट डे यू हैव टू गो फॉर ओटीज. Now, depending on your OT's workload, they might go on from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. in the night. Okay, if you have a big head and neck surgery case coming up, that might take 8 to 10 hours. Or there might be multiple small cases and 6 to 7. And after that, you have this post-op. तो आपको post-op patients भी देखने होते हैं, उनका वर्कअप करना रहता है, तो around 10 बज जाता है. And again, this cycle starts OPD, OT, OPD, OT, and these 6 days are gone like this. So obviously there will be no work-life balance during residency. Then comes the SRship. SRship में you have junior residents under you. So maximum of this work, that patients related work, is managed by junior residents and senior residents can have their free time. Coming to the consultancy, जब आप एक कंसल्टेंट हैं एक मेडिकल कॉलेज में, यू आर डूइंग जस्ट अ 9 to 5 जॉब. ओके, आप आराम से 9 से 5 अपना काम कर रहे हैं. जो जितनी भी इमरजेंसीज होती हैं, 90 to 95% ऑफ इमरजेंसीज आर मैनेज्ड बाय जूनियर एंड सीनियर रेसिडेंट्स, सच एज foreign bodies in ear, nose और छोटा मोटा like coin injections. Okay, tracheostomies, emergency tracheostomies, abscess drainages, these nasal fractures, these all are can be managed by junior residents and senior residents. So obviously there is a hard life for residents, but for consultants, मेनली कंसल्टेंट्स कब बुलाए जाते हैं? जब कोई सीवियर इंजरी होगी, जैसे लैरिंगोट्रेकियल ट्रॉमा या फिर फॉरेन बॉडी एस्पिरेशन. लाइक अभी जैसे एक बच्चा आया था 1 साल का, उसका पीनट टर्शियरी ब्रोंकस में था, सो वी हैड टू डू अ रिजिड ब्रोंकोस्कोपी एंड फॉरेन बॉडी रिमूवल, एंड उसमें कंसल्टेंट प्रेजेंस चाहिए होती है. सो फॉर अ कंसल्टेंट इमरजेंसीज आर नॉट मच, सो यू हैव अ गुड 9 to 5 जॉब, एंड आफ्टर 5 you can enjoy your inner wealth also.
So, Sanjeev, what are the different options available for fellowships in ENT in India or abroad?
Yeah, so Rahul, previously ENT was considered as an end branch. Like आपने अगर ENT ले लिया है, so that's it, you are a complete ENT surgeons. But nowadays, in last 1 decade, subspecialties of ENT have come up. Now people are doing fellowships in particularly otology, like cochlear implant. There are many institutes in Gujarat and in Chennai, like MUF Institute, where you can go and have a fellowship of 1 year or 2 year for cochlear implants, and these are mainly recommendation based or interview based. And similarly, there are skull based fellowships that are happening in AIMS or Tata Mumbai. Then there are head and neck fellowships which are of 2 years happening in Bangalore. And apart from these fellowships in India, you can go for MCH also. So we have, after ENT, you are eligible for MCH in plastic surgery, surgical oncology, head and neck surgery, and neurosurgery. But these are very specialized branches, and then you can forget about the basic ENT if you are going into MCH of these branches. And so these are all the options that you have after ENT. Fellowships करने के बाद you can very much apply to a corporate hospital, like Medanta is very well known for their voice surgeries. Okay, and then Bangalore is very known for their head and neck fellowships, head and neck surgeries. So after these fellowships, you can very well apply in corporate hospitals. Apart from that, in abroad also, mainly Italy, Switzerland, South Korea, you have fellowships in, again, ENT, like cochlear implant fellowships, robotic fellowships. You can go for robotic transoral surgeries, robotic thyroidectomies, and you can go for laryngeal surgeries, otology surgeries. There is a group of Gruppo Otologico in Italy, which is very famous. And the problem with fellowships abroad is these are just observership. They won't let you take any hands-on like any other surgical branches. तो आपने बस वहाँ पर रिसर्च करनी है, ऑब्जर्व करना है कि ये लोग कैसे सर्जरी कर रहे हैं, सीखना है, एंड देन वापस इंडिया आकर दोबारा से आपको वही चीजें प्रैक्टिस करनी होंगी अपने पेशेंट्स में, तभी यू कैन लर्न.
So, Sanjeev, once you complete your residency and then you move out of the medical college and hospital, and then you realize the actual struggles in real life. So, after completing your residency or even your fellowship, what is the approximate salary package one can expect to get in a corporate hospital in tier 1 city or any private hospital in tier 2 or tier 3 city?
So after PG and SRship, either 1 year SRship or a 3 year SRship, there are two options. Either you can go into a government setup or a private setup. Now, government setup in tier 1 cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, these are completely saturated. So going as a beginner in these cities can be a bit tough, even in government. And the salary packages, you can think in university, you can get up to 1.5 to 2 lakhs. That's a fixed base salary. And but there is a good government healthcare expansion in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Like so many AIMS are coming up and so many medical colleges are coming up. So you can very well apply there as an assistant professor and gain experience. Coming to the private. Now, in private also, in tier 1 cities, there is a fixed base salary. Like as a beginner, after SRship, any corporate hospital will take you as a subordinate to another consultant who is already working there. and they might give you up to 1.5 to 3 lakhs as a fixed base salary, and there can be possible incentives or revenue sharing according to the patients you are getting. एंड दिस विल कंटिन्यू फॉर अप टू 4 to 5 years मिनिमम. उसी सैलरी पैकेज पर आपको 4 to 5 years रखना पड़ेगा. देन यू कैन मेक योर पेशेंट बेस स्लोली, यू कैन बिल्ड अप योर रेपुटेशन, you can ascend up to senior consultant, and then probably you will increase your salary packages. In tier 2 and tier 3 cities, all come up to your freelancing ability. आप कितने मल्टीपल हॉस्पिटल्स को ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं, आप कितना ओपीडी देख सकते हैं. Like your salary is directly proportional to the number of patients and number of the OTs you are doing. तो अगर आप you are seeing almost 100 patients a day, you are operating almost 2 or 3 patients a day, so almost working for 12 to 16 hours, you can get up to 5 to 7 lakhs, you can make up to 10 lakhs per month also. But again, the work life balance, अगर आप 12 से 16 घंटे काम कर रहे हैं तो फिर आप अपने फैमिली को कितना टाइम दे पा रहे हैं, उससे भी बर्नआउट होने के चांसेस बहुत ज़्यादा रहते हैं. ठीक है. एंड ईएनटी के ऑल केसेस आर अंडर जनरल एनेस्थीसिया और लोकल एनेस्थीसिया ऑल्सो, बट मेनली जनरल एनेस्थीसिया. देयर इज नो फंडा ऑफ एनी स्पाइनल एनेस्थीसिया, सो यू हैव टू हैव a good anesthetist also. Now if you are thinking of opening your own hospital, again I'm saying that ENT is a very equipment intensive branch. You have to get an endoscopic unit, which even made in India will cost you around 5 lakhs. You have to get a microscope that will cost you around 5 to 10 lakhs. You have to have your micromotor drills, micro debriders, multiple ENT sets such as otology set, rhinology set, laryngology set, head and neck set, and a modular OT or a normal OT also. But this all will cost you almost around 60 to 80 lakhs in the beginning. And if you go on for advanced surgeries, you might have to get a new microscope that are state of the art, and then we are talking in crores. So establishing your private hospital can be a bit tricky.
Yeah, this is really unthinkable to spend 50 lakhs to 1 CR in the initial part of your career. So, Sanjeev, especially in tier 3 cities, although ENT is more of a surgical branch, but it does have medicine aspect to it. As in, you can see your own patients in the OPD who may not even require any surgical treatment, and there are lots of such patients. So, I think a major chunk of the revenue can be generated from those patients, and meanwhile, in maybe 4 years, 5 years, or 10 years, you can generate enough to start your own setup.
Yeah. Also in tier 3 cities, generally what ENT surgeons are doing, like any ENT specialist is doing, is start his own OPD, start seeing patients, have a small minor OT, start doing basic procedures like syringing, wax syringing, ear suctioning for ear discharges, removal of foreign bodies from nose or ear, small suturing, lobuloplasties, like such small surgeries, some small minor OTs you can start with, and then you can attach to other hospitals for major surgeries. You can take your patients there and operate there. But if you are not inclined towards the surgical aspect of ENT also, there are so many things that you can do. Nowadays, subspecialties of ENT like sleep medicine, vertigo, allergy, these all are coming up. As you know, being a neurologist, you know how common obstructive sleep apnea is there. So now getting to know in which part of your upper respiratory airway there is problem, ENT peoples are doing DISE, drug induced sleep endoscopy, to identify these problems. They are advising CPAP and BiPAP now. So there is a big vast sleep medicine also. They are doing tonsillectomies, septoplasties, base of tongue reductions, epiglotoplasties for these problems also. In allergy, you know, every second or third patient has some kind of allergies. They are sneezing all around. So now allergy is also becoming treatable. पहले हम लोग बोलते थे कि allergy treatable नहीं है. You can just give symptomatic some fluticasone nasal sprays, or you can give some levocetirizine, and for time being आप उतनी देर के लिए allergy से बच सकते हैं. But now allergy का treatment is also possible through immunotherapy. So now and these immunotherapy can go on up to for 2 years. 2 साल तक स्किट और स्लिट चलते हैं. सबक्यूटेनियस इम्यूनोथेरेपी, सबलिंगुअल इम्यूनोथेरेपी, ये चीज़ें आई हैं. नाउ वर्टिगो इज ऑल्सो वेरी कॉमन. देर आर 2 aspects, both labyrinthine and central system, and some ENT surgeons are taking care of both of these aspects. they are rehabilitating these patients. They are actually diagnosing कि ये वर्टिगो का मेन कॉज क्या था और उसको किस तरीके से ट्रीट किया जा सकता है, बोथ फार्मेकोलॉजिकली, rehabilitation procedures, virtual rehabilitation also has come up into this. So these are very new branches that are upcoming in India, and probably in next decade you'll see a lot of ENT surgeons, ENT specialists opting for these branches.
Yeah, this is something which is really interesting and I didn't had much idea about as well. But I think the prospects of ENT are really growing as various other branches. And if you do your specialization from premier institutions or at least SRship from premier institutions, I think you can have a lot of experience and you can do really great ahead in life. So Sanjeev, as per the discussion which we had, I think there are 3 points which every aspirant must know before deciding to take ENT. First one is that ENT is not an end branch as of now. If you are taking ENT just because it's an end branch and you do not intend to do any fellowship and decide to stay in tier 1 city, then the job prospects are really not good. Okay. And if you decide to move out to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, even then it's just okay. But if you plan to do a fellowship, have your skill developed to an extent, then lots of prospects are available in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. But in tier 1 city, situation is still grim because you would join as an attending consultant in corporate hospital, and that will take 4 to 5 years of your time to get promoted as a consultant and get an independent OPD. And I guess even that is really not confirmed because there are already consultants sitting over there who won't be going anywhere. And hospitals are limited, seats are limited. So even that is really not a possibility. So the scope is really good if you do your fellowship, get trained in any of the subspecialty in ENT, and practice in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Join some private hospital over there, start your own independent OPD, get some traction, and once you have a good running OPD in 4 to 5 years of line, you can have your own setup. And the third thing is, which I would want to ask you, if suppose somebody is not getting orthopedics but getting surgery and ophthalmology and ENT as well. So among them, should a person choose ENT as a branch against surgery and ophthalmology?
So again, Rahul, it depends. Like every branches have their pros and cons. Now, like surgery, you have to do an MCH, post general surgery, because you'll be a surgeon of hernia and hydrocele only. So you have to get an MCH, and then again it requires 1 year of preparation. Now, as comparing to ophthalmology, ophthalmology is a very micro surgical branch. As opposed to ophthalmology, yes, ENT has emergencies. There will be a little calls during the night times. You might not have that good work-life balance as you can have in ophthalmology.
Yeah, fair enough. And these were the same points which were raised by an ophthalmologist I had discussion with, and that is why she decided to take up ophthalmology against ENT. Okay, so Sanjeev, as you know, ENT is considered as a very unlikable branch, and not many aspirants tend to take it by their choice. But I hope things will improve in future. So, how do you see the future in ENT? What are the various fields and subspecialties which are coming up, like cosmetology, sleep medicine, and skull based? Can you please elaborate upon that?
Yes, Rahul. Even I used to think that ENT was an unsatisfactory branch because of those recurrences and complications that were happening in even the minimum of surgeries like CSOM and FES surgeries. There were revision procedures, but in last 1 or 2 decades, there have been so many recent advances. The robotics have come up, the lasers have come up. We have expanded the ENT branch. Now we have cosmetic ENT like rhinoplasties, facelift procedures, bro lift, lip jobs, and then we are venturing into sleep medicine, allergic medicine. We are treating these diseases which are thought to be incurable and not even thought to be diseases. So I think prospects in ENT are very bright and are becoming very attractive.
Yeah, rightly said, Sanjeev. As the subspecialties of ENT will grow, I think the interest of students will also increase, and in coming years, students may take ENT out of their own choice and love and passion rather than taking just because they could not get surgery or orthopedics. So thanks a lot for your time, and I really wish you all the best, and I really hope that you have your own setup in coming 2 to 3 years. Thank you so much.